Yo, what's going on, traders? This is the weekly outlook video for March 23rd. My name is Clay with Top One Trader. We're gonna look at some indices today. We're gonna look at Bitcoin. We're gonna look at the dollar. But first, let's look at what we have coming up on the calendar. So pretty quiet for out of the United States. You know, I think Monday we do have quite a bit of volatility, especially out of Eurozone and the UK. Bank of England, Governor Bailey speaks, so I don't know if that'll really do much. But we do have inflation Tuesdays for Aussie, and also CPI inflation for the pound. So I think it could be a big week, not so much for the dollar. I mean, we have GDP unemployment claims that, you know, may be a factor. We'll see. But other than that, there's really not much going on out of the dollar. I mean, it's the last week of the month, last week of the quarter. So, you know, there might be some big moves in the market. So we'll see. But I would expect Monday and Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning to be quite a bit of volatility. So what I wanted to talk about, if we go over here, we look at Nasdaq, right? And man, this isn't really, I think, you know, what anybody would want to see. This is a massive bear flag pattern, right? So you have that. There's your flag right here, right? So here is your flag pole. Now this is just the classic. You could look this up in any technical analysis book, and this is exactly what you would find. So typically too, theoretically, when you have one of these, the breakdown is equal to the flagpole itself. So in other words, this was the move lower, this is the consolidation, and then the next move lower would be something like this. So not too great, right? Not too great in terms of like looking at the stock market and the economy and everything else. I mean, a lot of this probably due to tariffs, but you know, it's kind of an abysmal outlook, I would say. So you can see the same thing here on S&P, right? Here's the flagpole. Here is the consolidation, and then that could take us way lower, right? So if this is the pole, take us, you know, all the way down to almost 5K on the S&P, right? So that's a big move. Now, if we take a look at, we looked at NAS US 30, pretty similar situation here, right? It might be looking a little healthier than the other two, but I don't know, we'll see. So, you know, that doesn't mean for sure that they're going to break down, but I just wanted to point out that classic technical pattern. Now, Bitcoin, right? So everybody was stoked, including myself, on hitting 104K on Bitcoin, and man, it has just been tanking ever since then, right? So looks like we're trying to bottom out here, kind of around this 80K. So maybe this is the new support, but you know, if we see the S&P and the NAS move lower, we might see this move lower itself. So something to keep an eye on. Now, if we take a look at the dollar index, looks pretty similar, right? Here's a big breakdown. Of course, I talked about this in the last weekly outlook video. However, it does look like we could be, you know, making a move higher, right? So maybe fill some of these gaps here on the dollar index. What that might look like for, say, Euro USD is a pullback, right, into one of these zones. You know, I like to use an envelope here to help me, that's the wrong envelope, but to help me find what it is, or to really see where the pullback might be. So I'm going to hide that, not adjust it now because it take too much time, but I would look for a breakdown into one of these areas right here, right? Here's a nice gap. So looking for a pullback there, which could create another buying opportunity. So you're going to see something similar in GBP/USD. I drew this out last week. Still hasn't manifested itself, but this is exactly what I would look for. And maybe, just maybe, we see that in the upcoming week, and maybe we get a bounce on stocks. We'll see. I think everybody could use it for sure. And then from there, that might create some good opportunities. Now, New Zealand hasn't been as strong as as euro or the pound, but looking like we could be getting at a buying opportunity. I think though, maybe down here, especially if we see dollar strength in euro USD, pound, then we might break through the 200. So that is what I'd look for there, but it's definitely not as pretty. So same thing. I mean, a lot of these commodity currencies are more or less range bound. You can see dollar CAD here, Aussie dollar, right? Just like I said, is below the 200. So we might see some strength in the dollar. It sure is looking like it, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then that could create a good opportunity to get back in shorting the dollar. So that's my game plan for the week. Let's absolutely crush it. We got some big things popping. And so, stay tuned to your email. I think you'll be extremely happy about it. And let's make it happen. Let's have a great week, guys. Thanks.